This is Nothing Coherent. I'm Brandon.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Ryan.
On this week's episode, we'll be talking about Shazam and Us. But let's start with what you've been doing or what you've been playing, Zach.
I haven't actually played a whole lot since last time we all met. I played a little bit more Star Wars Battlefront 2. That's just been my game to go in my free time. Like, just get online, play like Blast, which is basically team deathmatch. I guess I could do bargain binning now because the only other thing I played was Looney Tunes Back in Action. Okay, so there's actually some things in the game that I like, but there's a lot more that I hate. One, the game has issues with saving. Why does the game have issues with saving? I got to the very end of the game, saved it, turned it off. Next day, I'm like, okay, I'll beat the final boss, and then I don't have to think about this for the next, 4 or 5 days, because I think it was Tuesday, and then I turned it on Wednesday to be like, okay, let's play this. It's gone. It's all gone. All that.
So what
work.
Zach's really telling us is he's never turned it on.
No,
yeah.
I didn't.
What I said, though, is I was like, why didn't you just leave the console running?
I saved it and turned it off, thinking, oh, this game is going to save itself. It's gonna be fine. It didn't. I don't know why it corrupted the save. But I can tell you exactly how many levels are in the game. There's 5.
You can Google that. That's easy
Yeah.
information.
No.
How many Bugs Bunnies do you play as?
You only play as one Bugs
Oh,
Bunny,
he's got
but,
me
No.
but there's different costumes in the game. My favorite one is the one when you go to the casino that Yosemite Sam has in the movie, and you dress
There
up.
is no casino. He's
Yeah,
lying.
Oh my gosh, that's like the only scene I remember from
No, there is
Back in Action.
there is a casino. Thank you very much, because I also watched the movie to tie into the game to see if it was accurate.
Oh, why didn't you write down you watched the movie?
I forgot. I blocked out Looney Tunes from my mind after I lost my corrupted save. But I looked it up. There is a cheat code to take you to the final level, so I'm just going to do that when I go back and play it because I literally got everything else in the game.
So you're saying you're cheating?
Yes. This is
I tried to cheat Madagascar. I know the cheat codes were. I was really mad about that one.
So anyway, the whole point of the game is that at the start, for whatever reason, the human characters aren't in the movie. It's just the Looney Tunes. I was really hoping to see them try to do Brendan Fraser in the movie.
You'd have loved to see 2003's
Brendan Fraser
high graphics show that as the square face.
The whole point of the game is it's a lot like any collectible game. Like, you have different things that you have to collect. There's this side story connected to the game with Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. You can run around and collect all these, basically Roadrunner food for something later that you can do with Wile E. Coyote after you beat the game. It's not required or anything, but I got most of those. The only one I didn't get is the one that's in the final level. And then there's the Singing Frog. He has statues that you can pick up that are just collectibles, but the main thing you're looking to get is the monkeys that have all been turned in, from humans turned into monkeys, like in the movie. And one of them has the diamond that you're looking for. That's the whole point of the game. And then by the end, you get the monkey, and that's essentially it. I just have to go back and beat the final boss, where I fight a Tasmanian devil statue in the form of a giant robotic Tweety bird. That is the final boss. I looked it up because I was like, what am I missing out on? And I'm like, I have to play as giant robot Tweety now.
He was not going to do it. Do you hear that right there? What am I missing out on? He almost wasn't going to beat the last boss and just lie to us. That's exactly
not what I
So
said.
you were really just looking up all the levels.
No, I didn't.
He actually spent however long to watch it.
I read the entire walkthrough, okay? I'm sorry, I cracked. All the bargain binning has been too much from all the Burger King and the Duke Nukem and now the Bugs Bunny Looney Tunes. I can't take it anymore. No, it's true. I actually did play the game. It's actually not that bad. The worst thing about the game, apart from not saving, is Bugs and Daffy don't shut up. They constantly...
Wow, it sounds a lot like Madagascar.
Yeah. No, they tell you what to do, every 15 seconds or so.
That's why I threw it under the couch.
They're like, hey,
or
you try to press the button to switch characters, and it's like, sorry, I can't help you right now, and it'll repeat itself 3 or 4 times within a minute. I'm like, oh my god, shut up. Please just shut up. The best part is Daffy Duck has a certain costume called, instead of Duck Dodgers, they have Daffy Duck get into what looks like a Batman costume, and he's invincible during that time. And apparently there's a cheat code to where you can just play as that version of Daffy throughout the entire game. And I'm like, so basically what you're telling me is I can one-hit everything and it be like, I'm an unstoppable duck monster? Okay. Fighting Marvin the Martian in Area 52 was
I had a really bad dream
awful.
about the Martian when I was little. I'm just saying,
Marvin
I still
the
remember
Martian.
that. Yeah. He like pushed me off out of a window,
no.
like out into the space, whatever.
Do you
and
remember
it
the
was
Looney
bad.
Tunes episode where like Porky Pig like meets Marvin the Martian, and then there's like these weird people who've gotten like lobotomies or whatever?
No.
I'll have to look it up. There's this weird episode of Looney Tunes from a long time ago that I can't remember, but no, it's not a bad game, but it's got some problems. The platforming is a little slippery when you jump sometimes, and there's honestly no reason to play Daffy other than the parts where you're required to. Bugs Bunny is the better character to play as the entire time. He can like double jump, his attacks are better, like, and you do more with him in the game anyway, so it's like just plays Bugs and only do Daffy when you're required to. Out of all the bargain bin games I've played so far, this is the one that I would say is playable. You could actually play this, and if you like Looney Tunes a lot,
You
might
wouldn't say
enjoy
that
it.
Pocket Bike Racer or Big Bumpin' were the better ones?
I liked Big Bumpin' actually.
Why is that the one you threw then?
I threw Big Bumpin'. I'm sorry, I meant to throw Sneak King. Sneak King was bad. Duke Nukem Forever is a whole other level of bad. That's like bottom of the barrel bad.
Do you realize what you whispered to me last week was very, very hearable in the podcast?
No.
I was listening to it and I was like, I just sat there and I was like, oh, I was like,
whatever.
Zach.
No.
There's no secrets in this podcast.
It was bad. I couldn't finish that game. I'm glad I re-rolled. I actually would much rather play Looney Tunes back in action forever before I would ever play Duke Nukem forever.
We're going to have to
again.
gather up all the games now because we're getting close to the finally having played through all the games
Yeah,
we
I know.
bought.
We're going to have to gather all the ones that have been
So,
thrown.
so basically, I just have the final boss. We'll see how that goes.
So next week, one of us will have to give it a shot.
Yep.
I think we have...
So Brandon will be playing next
I think
week.
we have Aquaman,
you have Aquaman,
Blowout,
Blah, and Batman.
the 2 TAT games, and the Wii one. So we have 6 more to go through.
Oh, yeah.
So I need to go out and buy a nunchuck if we roll a Wii one.
Yeah, well. Anyway, that's it for games. What I've watched, I started watching the current season of Survivor.
Heard one of the recent episodes was really good.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
I just can't believe Survivor's like still going.
I can't believe a lot of shows are still going.
It's still super popular. I guess it's because of its time slot being on Wednesdays. It doesn't have competition. I don't know. But I've always been a big fan of that show ever since I started watching it 5 years ago now. But I let it get ahead a couple episodes, and now I've watched them all, and I'm caught up. I really like a lot of the contestants right now. One of the returning players got voted out, not this episode, but the last one. And it was really... I was like, wow, you actually pulled that off on one of the players that I consider one of the smartest ones to ever play the game. I'm like, how did you outsmart this person? Like, if you're into that show or just into like reality TV, I would watch it. I like it. I've never seen Big Brother. I've always heard that's fun to watch.
I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot because that's what my fiance's family really
Right.
likes and my family really likes.
The only other big thing that I watched this week, apart from just like putting something on Netflix to fall asleep to, like Red vs. Blue or something.
Yeah, as we watch Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That was fun to watch again.
Yeah, it still really holds up.
I love it. I want to watch I still need to watch the extended cut.
I do too.
There's an extended cut that's 40 minutes longer.
That's
Has
what-
unfinished footage though, but like I still want to see.
I don't
really
care.
bad.
I want to see what like plot lines they like.
A lot of it was the
shrunk
roommate
down
stuff,
or-
is what I heard.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that. I hope that movie's done well enough for Sony to do a sequel.
Oh, I mean, we talked about this. They've made 3 Hotel Transylvania movies,
Yeah.
and Spider-Verse has outgrossed all of them. Not combined, but
Right. But like, I hope that they're like, oh yeah, that was good enough for us to be like, let's do another one because of how different the art
well,
style
they
is and
announced
everything.
a sequel and 2 spin-off films.
Oh
I
really?
wonder how much additional time it takes to do the animation for
I was
something like
watching
that.
something, and it seems like you just added a few extra months
Yeah.
because it's
It's like
basically
CGI
2
and hand
animators.
drawn on.
Yeah, it's 2 animators. One does the CG, one does the hand drawn, and then they overlay both of them.
Which is really cool. I actually really love the art style, and I hope that
What?
It's about to storm.
Oh,
yeah, I hope that superhero movies in the future that are animated start to go towards that style, provided of course Sony doesn't like get a copyright.
they're
on it or
working.
something.
They're working on copywriting.
That's what I've
the
heard,
style.
and I'm like, I kind of hope they don't because
Yeah, I
Like, I like-
don't. But at the same time, like, I mean, I don't want I don't want you to ruin that animation style.
That's true. If every movie started getting that style, it wouldn't feel as special anymore.
If it was comic book type
Right.
movies,
That's what I'm saying. If it's only comic books,
even
I'm
if
fine.
it was in a different universe or anything,
Yeah.
I'd be completely okay with it. More of a comic book type series would be
at the
cool.
at the very least, Sony can be like, "Hey, Marvel, we'll do animated movies for you." Or something.
Even
if
it was based off like actual comics,
yeah.
like even if it's a TV show and you went comic by comic, I think that would be the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
they've also
talked about a Spider-Verse TV show, which I don't. Sony says a lot of things. Like I don't believe anything until it's in development.
So much, yeah.
Because we know there's like 8.
I really think
Spider-Man
Sony
movies.
will say something just to see what the fans say back
Yeah,
to
well,
it,
I think
if it's like a good thing,
That's
because they
just
don't really
Sony in
have a very
general.
good idea. Like,
That or
yeah.
they're like
Or
their
what?
investors are like, what are you doing with this? And they're like,
Oh, we don't
well, we're making 8 movies, of course. You know Morbius, and then they're like,
they're
said it
sitting
in
around the
somebody's.
conference room table not doing
They're like,
anything, and they're like, "Oh, we got to come up with something, boys."
They're like, we have the Morbius with Jared Leto, and they're like,
They've got
what?
they've got like a projector, and they're like, okay, so these are the characters we have the rights to. Which one do you want to do? What's
There's like 3
Morbius?
left.
No.
That's like a vampire guy.
No,
okay.
no, they have a wheel, and every day they're like,
They
spin that wheel, and like last time I went on Morbius, and they're like, I guess
Sinister
we're doing that again.
6. No, that wouldn't have worked in Amazing Spider-Man 3. Let's spin that again.
Guys, don't be silly.
Don't be silly. Amazing Spider-Man 2 did not do as well as we wanted it to.
There's always that little like super small one that
Slither.
says "Sell it to Marvel," and they accidentally land on that, and they're like, "Oh crap!"
They just lightly tap it and just like,
Someone just sneezes on the side. Oh, what?
oh wow, look, it's Morbius again.
What's that? A red wig? We're gonna glue on Woody Harrelson. I guess.
Well, okay, I guess that's what the fans in Sony wanted.
But yeah,
that is what actually happened.
I think my concern isn't so. I don't. If every studio does it, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I like the art style. But my problem is when part of it is so special because it was so original.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
if every movie.
And then it may get because when we were watching it, we talked about this on the podcast a few weeks ago when we watched Spider-Verse. It took us a few minutes just to get used to it and
Right.
stuff like so.
Yeah,
but
like-
the movie was so stinking good that you're
Yeah, you don't care.
mesmerized by
You're
it.
like,
if it was a
"Oh."
really crappy movie and you had to deal with that,
Oh yeah, and then
I
you'd
think
be
you'd
like,
be turned off in the first 15, 20 minutes, and then you'd be like, I don't even
I know
care about
some
what's
people
going
who
on.
did not like the animation.
Well, yeah,
at the
it
beginning.
was your fiance's dad, right?
my father-in-law.
I
father-in-law.
wasn't even thinking of him. I was thinking of like my brother. He thought it was weird how like perspective would change on how they would like blur things out in the distance and stuff by
I thought it was
having
fantastic.
I loved it.
I thought I was like that's what comic
once you
books
got
do.
used to it, like
Even though this last time I was watching it,
Yeah.
up until when Miles shows up, I still every time have to adjust. I'm like, right, this is different. This is not.
Yeah.
I need to remember that this is.
They want
style.
it to feel different. Like they really hammered that in. That's all I've really got apart from Shazam and Us, which we're gonna get to. I guess we can do anime with the boys now really quick because Promise Neverland is on episode 11 and it was really good.
Yeah, this is the we're about to be on the season finale.
Yep.
No idea when the return date is, which they'll probably announce it after episode 12 airs, or
Probably a few months from now.
yeah, I think it doesn't return until 2020.
Probably.
But I also just because I want them to give the manga as much time as possible, so we're not rushing or slowing down.
I might actually read the manga after this next episode concludes, just so at least for this arc.
Yeah.
Because I've fallen in love with this world that they've set up. Like, I think it's super interesting. Ryan, I think you would actually really like this show.
It's not dubbed yet, but it's on Hulu.
No, you'd have to
I
watch.
have Hulu.
Yeah, which again, if you have if you have Spotify, you also have Hulu for free.
Yeah, but we're gonna talk spoilers in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll wait a week after it's all done because
So-
I do think this episode there's a lot that happens in it.
Yeah.
That I was like reading the manga. I definitely was like, oh, this is what they're gonna do. And every time I thought I knew what they were doing, they were able to bait and switch me.
I'm just super excited for this next episode because I'm like, there has to be this has to be the actual like falling action for this first season, like where
This is the first arc. The
the
first arc will wrap up.
So I'm just like, well, there's only one thing I can think of that happens.
Yeah, I we won't really talk anymore about it.
Yeah.
On that because I mean I think Emma's development and everything you see that has been happening.
Everything with her has been fantastic.
Yeah, and Ray too. You've seen like his character development has been very interesting. Same thing with Dawn and Gilda and the rest of them. Every strategic move where you even thought they were losing, or you're like, why make that move?
There's a different plan. Mm-hmm. Like, each character has a plan behind their plan. Like, just because you have plan A does not mean you plan for B, C,
It reminds me of like Breaking Bad, where it's like Walter had plans for everything. Mm-hmm. Like, Walter knew every moment what he was going to do.
Yeah, in this case I do this, in this case I do that. And
it's like, if this fails, we got this, or this fails, we got this. So
I was blown away with the start of that episode, because everything was just a matter of, like, they look like they've basically...
You thought they'd lost. Like, at the end of the day, you're like, this is it. It's over.
And then, like, 2 minutes in, you're like, no, that's not the case. They play the intro, and then...
Yeah.
Like, they start doing almost like a weird flashback of what happened in their conversation during the intro. And I'm like, okay, they've really prepared for this, like, even when you thought they weren't. Like...
Which, overall, I love the episode.
Yeah, it's really good. It's
excited. I want to watch it again dubbed.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious to see...
I'm really curious how the dub will work. Like, I hope that the voices are good. Like,
yeah,
the one that I think needs to have the one that I'm the most curious about is Isabella.
Yeah, because hers needs to be... It needs to be this mothery... Like,
right, she needs to
have that mothery, like...
Right.
Soothness?
Mm-hmm.
Soothe?
I think soothness is a word.
Yeah,
like
it is now.
Like a calm voice, you know, like a motherly presence, like she's supposed to demonstrate.
But also like a killer.
Yeah, at times when she needs to. Like, I think of my
own mother.
Not last episode, but the episode before that, where she reveals, "Oh, I've known everything you've been up to."
Yeah.
And, like, things start to happen.
Like, every time her eyes, like, dilate and she, like, looks at them and they're like, just stop.
And then Sister Crone is one that I'm really curious about how they voice her character. I feel like she's just going to be completely maniacal and crazy. And I'm like, okay. Like, because, I mean, she is.
But, yeah, overall, I like the episode a lot.
It's really good.
This season has been good. And this is the thing with the manga, too. The first part of it is really fast. It's really good. And then it doesn't drag, but the stakes are kind of weirder because you move. We'll talk about it more. I'll talk about more of that in 2 weeks. But this first arc is always the best arc, and at least what I've read so far and what they've done. But overall, I mean, like, I recommend Promise Neverland. Please watch it before.
Yeah, it's good.
Next week, I have only done. I played The Division a little bit, played about 2 hours, but my server kept crashing, so I stopped. But I do enjoy it. I do surprisingly.
I do own it now.
Yeah, so does.
We all do.
Yeah, eventually we will all find time to play together.
The idea is that we'll all play it together tonight.
Yeah, tonight.
That might work. I know that our friend Jacob is also wanting to play because he picked up a copy of the game. Mm-hmm. So if we all get together, I will stream it, and then I can export it to my YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And then we can link that to people who might want to watch us play The Division.
Which is what's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is youtube.com/jitteryjackanape. That's JITTERYJACKANAPE.
We'll have that in the description.
There's also a Twitch account where you can subscribe if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, blah, blah, blah. So just link the accounts, and then if it starts raining, I have to go let my dog in.
That's fine. We will make sure the pupper is safe.
We may have to take a time out on this podcast, too.
If it just starts raining, we'll do it. Anyway, but yeah, I played it. I liked it. I only got a little past the White House again. I'd gotten my area set up, and then I hadn't got much farther than that because it just kept crashing on me. But that's about all I did this week outside of seeing movies.
Yeah, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
First, I just want to say MLB The Show is coming out next week.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, we're going to lose Ryan.
This will be the MLB Show podcast until Avengers comes out.
We'll have 2 solid weeks after that where...
I'm like, Ryan,
stop. And then it'll become the HBO
Game of
Thrones exclusive podcast.
I'll have to just bow out for that one. I haven't watched any of it.
I'm so excited. So... April is one of the best months.
Sorry, that spider climbed up real fast.
Oh.
We have a lot of nature around in our little studio here. Yes.
Don't bite me.
obviously I watched Shazam, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I started the Division, but I barely got started because it took 10 years for it to download.
See,
so if you do buy Division, you've got to clear out like 2 to 3 games.
I installed the game perfectly fine. It only took like 40 minutes, and I heard that yours took forever, and Jake said that his took forever.
Did you do the updates?
I don't think so. I just installed the game.
That's
the update is 90 gigabytes.
Yeah,
that's insane.
I don't. That is literally the game.
The update didn't start. I had to manually go and start the update
because it started like I was like, this was actually really fast, and then
that's probably why I haven't actually started the game yet.
So Zach will not be playing with us tonight.
He will not be playing with us for the next 2 weeks.
There's the day 1 patch, and then there's been 2 more patches since.
That's
then.
Insane. Okay,
so each one it's 93 and 3 gigabytes. So
we'll figure it out.
Almost 100. Anyway.
Yeah. Let's see. I watched a little bit more Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've been watching a little bit of that.
Hitchcock and Skull.
Now, March Madness is going on right now, so I've taken quite a bit of time. I know this isn't a sports podcast.
No, it's fine. Talk about it.
Oh, well, no, I'm just saying. Anyways, that took a lot of my extra hours at night.
Who do you have winning it all? I said Duke.
I think I picked North Carolina just because I don't want everybody else voted for Duke. So
yeah.
I only picked Duke because our boss did.
I said Duke and Kentucky in the final.
Fun fact: I'm in the top 2%, in the top 5% in 2 of my brackets. And,
then you're
ESPN.
Probably gonna do really well.
Well, and it's on ESPN. I only filled up 3. Usually I fill out like 20, but I didn't get to this year.
I gotta fill out all these brackets and
different
increase my odds.
It's fun. It's fun to keep track of that stuff. But back to games and stuff. I'm trying to think of other movies. I watched Infinity War last night.
I actually watched that again yesterday before we saw Shazam.
Yeah, I saw you do that, and I was already planning on watching it, but I watched through it again. I'm getting myself. I want to remember like every single possible detail and like make sure I'm really, ready and stuff. So I'll probably watch it again.
Well, I was gonna watch Thor Ragnarok, and then Infinity War came up on Netflix before Thor, and I was like, man. I
will say, watching Infinity War in 4K
oh my gosh.
is so nice.
Oh.
I think the opening scene
Strange
in
versus
4K,
Thanos.
Yeah. I don't know.
All of it just looks beautiful.
I was really happy I watched it last night again. So
well, I even I paused it twice to do other stuff, and I was still man, I cannot believe how much of this movie has flown by or how much is left because it flows so perfectly.
Yeah,
right.
And there's
For
so much going on.
as long as that movie is, it goes super fast. So everybody keeps saying 3 hours feels like a long time for Endgame, I'm like, watch Infinity War again. It does not feel like a 2.5 hour movie.
The problem is with that is it's just Disney and studio and theater count because if it's 3 hours, you have less theaters it plays in, so it's less likely of a chance to break the previous record of Infinity War. Unless the theaters reserve more theaters.
I understand that. I'm talking about people who are like, oh, I'm not going to go see a 3 hour movie in theaters in case I have to go to the bathroom. I'm like, trust me, it will not feel like 3 hours when you're sitting there watching that movie.
Yeah,
it will. It will for people releasing the movie.
Of everything. If anybody got up to leave during that, I'd
probably
just piss myself.
Yeah, honestly, I've thought about bringing a cup and a blanket and just peeing under.
I won't lie. If I see somebody get up to go to the bathroom, I might just throw my soda at them and be like, "What are you doing?"
You ruin the movie for everyone else.
Be like, I'll get on Reddit and read the spoilers. That way I can read them out and then immediately run.
Only other game that I played was Hitman.
Right, because that was free.
Yeah, and I've been really playing that just a little bit.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first half of the first chapter of that game or whatever is kind of whatever, but
where you're in the big mansion and your first mission is really confusing.
Yeah, I didn't really like that too much.
It's such a big location,
but once you get past that, then you start going a little better and stuff. But anyways,
I'm not ignoring you. I thought tickets dropped, so I was double checking.
Oh no, you're good.
Brandon's gonna be checking throughout the entire week until they come out. I was really hoping
I heard
that
the rumor
was
tomorrow.
The rumor was Friday, and now everyone's more leaning towards tomorrow. AMC has told different people different things. There is a subreddit dedicated to just figuring this out and asking different theaters. Here's what's going on.
I know it's Batman, but where are they? Just
my dog did not like that.
He's like, something's going on there.
Okay, so we will do a little bit of news and trailer talk before we jump into our big reviews, which we're going to end with us because we want to talk about spoilers for a minute. So either you're welcome to leave for a few minutes while I talk about it, or you can stay if you don't care.
The movie's confusing. We gotta talk.
Yeah, so and I was wanting to try to catch it last night, but I just didn't. So
it's just your call. But so
it's not a big deal either way.
First, real quick, is for our anime discussions. Neon Genesis Evangelion is being put on Netflix June 21st, which Zach will have a required watch of the entire series starting June 21st. That will be our summer anime with the boys. You're gonna shut up and watch it.
Getting the robot.
It's being redubbed, which the original voice actors have spoken out.
They don't approve.
Very upsetly because they weren't even given a chance to audition, and then they were only given a chance to audition after it was cast, basically. Another thing is Xbox and PlayStation announced their own directs. Tomorrow at 2 or 3 here, 4, somewhere between 2 and 5. They're doing State of Play for PlayStation. And that is going to have that will have probably the rest of the games for the rest of this year since they're not doing an E3.
Yep.
So tomorrow, it's interesting to see Sony take this route.
I'll be at work.
No, you won't.
I might be, depending on what time it starts.
I'd say it's between 2 to 5. Well, I guess 5. It's between.
Well, if it's 5, then yeah.
I think it's 2 to 5. So maybe it's Pacific time at 5. So probably 4 here.
Oh, then I can watch some of it, maybe most of it.
And then Xbox is doing an indie one. But it seems like this is like a step. They've already been doing Inside Xbox, but then Tuesday they're doing an indie direct.
Yeah.
For Game Pass. I just thought that was interesting, cool.
Yeah.
Cuphead coming to Switch is a big deal.
Yeah.
Is a huge, huge deal because we talked about this in episode 9.
About like Game Pass.
About Game Pass and Xbox coming to that. This is my indication. This is like a clear sign to me that 1, Game Pass is coming, and 2, Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the whatever sequel. I can't remember what the second one's called.
Ori 2.
But I already bought Cuphead. It's available on April 18th. I already paid for it. It's pre-downloaded. I was like, even if I don't play this game, I'm supporting it because
you want this.
I want more. Yeah. And so this just shows that I think Xbox is moving towards that direction of play anywhere. Either whether they do just port their games to other consoles or do have that streaming future. Which I guess we should talk real quick about Stadium. I don't know if either one of you guys are aware of the Google streaming thing. They had their conference.
Yeah.
They did announce. They showed a lot of it, which a lot of it looked pretty cool. For it to run at 1080p, you have to have 25 megabytes of internet, which like here at the house we have 13.
Yeah. They said that it's more powerful than the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One combined.
It would be.
I don't know if that's accurate, but
it would be exactly like it would be like maybe a 0.1 difference, but yes.
Yeah, so that's a big deal. But I've been waiting for like a new console to come kind of from the horizon. And
Dreamcast 2.
Oh boy.
But to be fair, it's not a console. Like it is just a service. Like you could like right now, if we had Wi-Fi hooked up, you could pull up Google and just play it on one of their tabs. So I like the idea that like any phone except for probably iPhone, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Unless you can use the Chrome browser on your iPhone, you can play anywhere. Like then that's what they showed in the video, which everyone talked about. There was a bunch of lag between each one, like input lag, which is just expected. They are releasing a controller that does not have a price, but everyone thinks $60.
Do you think it's going to sell though?
That's the thing.
Google probably.
Well, if it could,
but I mean, what kind of or who's going to buy something like that when you already have? So this is you already have now.
Established.
This is the debate.
Yeah.
So everyone talks about the value of $1 for a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you wanted to play. Let's say it's Generation 6. Is that 5?
Yeah.
Where the next generation of consoles, you're sitting there, and you're like, man, I really want to play these games, like Assassin's Creed, whatever, Odyssey 2, Doom Eternal, Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
Let's say you're sitting there, and you can either pay $500 for a brand new console, or $60 to play Elder Scrolls 6. So $500 plus the game, plus maybe an extra controller, or you can pay $60 plus, the controller if you want that, and play it on your computer, phone, or TV. What do you pay?
Yeah, this is a good comparison to like Netflix, for example. where not everybody wants to buy every single one of those movies, and so you pay just so much, and then there you go.
If it's the problem is if it's a subscription service, then I think if it's a subscription service that doesn't have to have that great of internet, I would do it. Like I would buy the controller.
Sure. And if it's cheap enough to where like you're saying, the value of its dollar that we get to play those games that we really. $60 to fork out a game or something that you can get on there, which is what Xbox is already we're already headed towards that direction anyways, but if they can jump in the middle of that a lot quicker and offer a better deal, then it might get people to swing, and I'll put so much money towards that per month. But what I think could happen is PlayStation and Xbox and whoever else wants to get in the jump of this, they go, hey, we're going to do that, and since we already have all this value, all this money coming in, we'll do it for $10 cheaper or something.
Right.
Like that.
The debate comes down to, though, at the end of the day, will one be internet speed if they can get it to less? Yeah. Because, like, here at the house, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It would be impossible. Like, it wouldn't be worth it for me. I just have to still do hard copies of games or downloads. If you could download it, which I don't know what they'll do exactly. But, like, if it's not a service.
It would have to be, do you think you could stream all,
that's the intention.
Those heavy, if it is twice as powerful as an Xbox or whatever, then I would assume that it would be able to stream all of that, and
that's the intention. No downloads.
Hopefully flow. So that is just crazy.
So like the intention is like, let's say your laptop
bandwidth of just internet would have to be just.
That's what everyone's worried about. So, but like that's the thing though. Like you could be playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They did the test last year, which I meant to sign up for. You could be playing it right now on your computer. You could be like, okay, we need to use the computer for something else. You could take out your phone, set your phone up, have the controller, and still be playing it 1080p. And no downloads, because the streaming, it's downloaded on a server somewhere else. It bounces off the Wi-Fi and then onto your console or onto your handheld device or phone. I think the idea behind it is very cool.
But I just don't think
we're there yet.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I want to be wrong. Because Xbox is trying the same thing.
Exactly.
And so I want it to do well. Nintendo will never, just for the record. Nintendo will just do whatever they want because they sell.
Just thinking through this, if they do this the next year or so, do they have a release date
2019 for Google and probably 2019 for Xbox as well.
Okay, so if Google decides to do this and they don't have that many people, I don't want them to give up on the project after a couple of years because no one has that, bigger cities, maybe. But games are for literally widespread, and if you're in the middle of Montana or whatever, you're probably not going to get that speed anytime in the next 5 years, probably. So, I don't know.
My thing would be is if Google was like, hey, if you request it, we will help Google Fiber come to your area and like start pushing for that more and more.
Yeah, which that's a bigger push. I wonder if they're going to try to do like some package deal where they go, we'll offer you a certain internet service, or at least get something in there where they could try to tag something together. I don't know. I do not know how they'd be involved with that, but
AT&T, we have that at the house, and I don't have it, but we talked about we talked about getting the highest speed they have, but they're like, honestly, in the area, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything. There's
a limit. Just go to the office. I'm getting fiber optics installed right now, so.
But, like, honestly, though, the thing is, and the idea would be is, like, the reason they want this to succeed is for their phones. Is because they're billions of dollars are spent on mobile games every year.
Yeah.
So, like, if you can capitalize on that market of having, hey, you've Assassin's Creed Odyssey on your phone. Why need anything else? Why? If I had a AAA game on my phone.
My thing is who's going to play on their phone? A game like that? All those little details, little things.
I wouldn't be shocked. Imagine
phones are a lot bigger than they used to be, but seriously.
You're sitting on the subway, you can pull out your Google controller, just set your phone in front of you, and just play a round of Halo.
I do think, or even a tablet, because they run on any tablet.
A tablet, if you set up your tablet, it's got a little stand on there, and you're just chilling, and maybe you're at school or whatever.
Oh, dear God, this is going to be bad for college students.
A lot of college students, I can see that, because they already do that, basically.
Yeah, they do.
But, I do think that, like, phones, if you're talking, like, 10 minutes, like, let's say in Assassin's Creed, you're like, man, I want to get from this point to this point. Yeah. Well, actually, let's do this. Let's use Red Dead. let's say Red Dead was on the service. You're like, when I get home, I want to play this mission. Well, I can, on the subway, get on the horse and take the horse all the way there, be ready to go when I get home.
Once you get off the subway, finally. No, what I see, I seriously see this because when you go to Missouri, the college I go to, everybody has their laptops out or whatever, taking notes, and then you always see those random people just like watching TV or whatever on there. I can literally just see people just pulling out their controller, just putting it underneath it, and just playing while they go through some. And I mean, I guess no one would stop them probably, but that'd be really funny to watch that. But
this is like the future. Whether
I think because everybody has a laptop for the most part, or the people that are going to play games have a laptop. So now a lot of people have Macs. I don't know how, like you were just mentioning, I don't know how Apple.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, so it's gonna. It doesn't.
They're so picky about.
It's ignoring any of the software. If you have Chrome, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Because like my in-laws have a Chromecast, and they're like any Chromecast will also play. The controller has a button on it. You'll activate it and just start playing the game.
It just knows that you already have Chrome.
Yep.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like if they were like, hey, to watch it because they have it set up to eventually play at 8K.
Wow.
Yeah, and so like all they said you need is the UHD
the
Chromecast.
The cool thing is it's so far advanced that when we are 10 years down the road, that thing may be still going.
Yeah, that
and holding everything together.
Well,
and then they don't have to spend more money to create more consoles or whatever you want to call it. But
which they said they built the infrastructure with the intention of, hey, like this is future proofing it. So like if this does take off, we already have, you already
have all the equipment. You don't have to invest anymore. It's just more promoting it at that point. And it's Google, so
yeah. I think I only brought it up one because I do think it's the future.
I did read a little bit about it, but
I
didn't.
I listened to a lot because I've been kind of curious about it. I meant to sign up for the beta when they did it because I wanted to see what it looked like.
Did they have a list price for it?
They're not giving anything. They did not share any news that could be bad. Which then they did share the bad news of what the internet speed has to be. They did that after the conference.
Big turn off, yeah.
Yeah. Well, because everyone's like, basically everything I heard from the conference, everyone was like, why should I care about this?
I will say a lot of people are getting to gig speed in certain areas. They just have to pay a lot.
Yeah.
But like in bigger cities, that's not really a crazy abnormal thing.
Well, even though like
even where we live, like it offers that, but it's not consistent.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But I like listen to a podcast where they live in San Francisco, and they were like, honestly, our office gets 19. They're like consistent to get with it. If it's on a good day, we're getting more, but they're like consistently it's 19, and I was like, we're just not there yet.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, here's the thing though. For some games, I think if you had the service, if there was like a cross-buy thing where like I could buy it on this and have it on my PlayStation or Switch or Xbox.
Yeah. I wonder like on a lower quality game or like maybe not as
graphically
or
consuming
data, more of a takes a little bit less data. How would that affect?
Yeah, I've wondered that too. Like if they were like,
I mean, it's perfectly streaming. So if you get like even like if you have a 4K movie, obviously it's going to take up a lot more data.
Yeah.
It's going to be harder to stream something like that. So if you have just more of a dumbed down version of it, 1080, I don't know.
Even something like streaming 720, I feel like shouldn't use. I don't know. I was curious about it. I'm going to be curious. They said in summer.
There's a lot of things that they still have to answer.
They said in summer they have some more stuff they'll announce. Everyone thinks it's in May because in May Google does a 3A thing every year. So, we'll see. If not E3, I guess they might just show up and be like, "Hey, we're having a press conference," and Sony isn't. Because they're also having first-party games. Sony did announce Google did announce a first-party studio, so there will be exclusive games on.
And that is just interesting in itself on what kind of
games are going to
come out of that.
They can pay whatever for whatever rights because Google just has so much money, so they can walk into any studio and be like.
Well, I think Google has to get in this market though. I mean, they have their hands in everything, but they've really lacked in their phones. They always promote these phones, but no one hardly has them except their technology is just a lot more advanced. It's just everybody's like iPhones.
Yeah, it's all brand.
It's all branding right now. But I think I'll call it on this. I think Apple in the next 2 to 3 years is going to just fall off the face of the earth. I really do. I think their MacBooks, but I think their phones and everything are just going to go right. Maybe not off the earth, but I think
they were $1 trillion. They're $1 trillion.
I really, really think that we are seeing some of the top end of their like what they're going to have, and then people are going to start venturing out. I really do. So
check back Remind me, whoever listens to our podcast in 3 years, check on us.
In maybe 3 to 5 years. How about that?
He's extending it 5 years. Check back on us. 2024.
He knows we won't be doing this in 5 years.
Who knows? But 3 to 5. I bet in 3 to 5 years, I don't think Apple is just going to be the company it is today. I really don't, unless they really just venture out and do some different things. Because what they do, I think other companies are going to start taking advantage of it.
I wouldn't bet on that, but I also don't care enough in that market.
I've just been watching a lot of things last year and stuff. So
you can go back and experience your memories.
But I mean, I've seen a bunch of people who still, just because of the brand, buy Apple Watches and all that stuff, and I just can't imagine them investing in something else for, maybe in 5 years. I would switch if Stadium worked perfectly.
Yeah.
And I could play on my phone anywhere with Wi-Fi. And they were like, hey, the best way to play it, though, is this whatever Google phone. There would be a strong part of me that would be like, I should switch.
And the biggest thing I think with Apple is just the reliability right now of just iPhones don't crash or anything.
Yeah,
I mean they don't have that many issues compared to others, except people just dropping them. That's just
my battery has it doesn't die during the day. I've had that problem with any Samsung phone. Is after a year,
it overheats. But I've had iPhones overheat too. So I don't know, but.
But yeah, anyway, Stadium. I just brought that up because I thought that'd be kind of cool, but we got really off track. But that was because of Cuphead.
Yeah.
The last thing before we get in the trailer talk is the Fox deal closed.
Yep.
I only want to bring this up because there will be no after-credit scene in Avengers in-game that is X-Men or Fantastic Four related.
Yeah, I think people are jumping the gun way too quick on that. They're like, well, the deal's closed, so Feige clearly had something planned.
I mean, how can they get something together that quick unless they just really have a super teaser?
So the argument is Swarma. Swarma was filmed the day after the world premiere and then was put in there. And so, do I think it's possible? Yes. Do I think... Let me rephrase that. I think it's possible. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but I think in-game is meant to close this chapter, and whatever the after-credit scene is more setting up
for the future.
The big picture of Phase 4, 5, or 6.
I feel like, if anything, it has to be something related to Far From Home.
That, I also wouldn't be surprised if it didn't Far From Home, and I told... Because they're not announcing... This is what catches me. They're not announcing the Phase 4 slate or anything until after Far From Home.
Yeah.
So what I told somebody, we were talking before Shazam, is I think Far From Home, they're trying to decide if the Avengers Tower was bought out in Homecoming. In Far From Home trailer, you see it being worked on. Mm-hmm. I think at the end of Far From Home, you see it either become the Baxter Building or the Oscorp. Yeah. I think they were trying to decide on which one, depending on how the deal went.
Yeah, I
Granted,
think so.
That's total speculation, because you could have an after-credit scene in Far From Home have it be like, the Baxter Building's now opening. Reed Richards has just returned after blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, you could do it without showing anybody. You don't have to show any actors.
Yeah.
Granted, I don't see that happening either, but I'm curious about it. I just wanted to put that out there because the Fox deal closed has been something that we've talked about since The Last Jedi. December, that was the day. When we were on our way to Last Jedi was when...
it's been a while.
The Fox deal was announced.
Announced that, hey, they're doing this, officially moving forward. Because it had been a joke. I remember for months even before that, people joked that, they'll just buy out Fox, and then
they did.
And we're like,
they did.
Ooh. And then there was bidding wars and stuff kept happening, and the deal finally got approved a year and a half later. So
and that stuff just takes so long.
It does.
There's just two
and they had to sell off a lot of extra stuff that Fox had just to even get the film and TV rights. I think it was they couldn't have
the film.
Disney can't really buy.
They can't buy too much of anything else. Yeah,
big at least any more companies. So this will be interesting for Comcast because they can really
Comcast bought
do some damage on the back end.
Sky Media, I think it was.
Comcast does also own Time Warner, so you have to remember that they are part of. Warner Brothers owns a lot of stuff. People just don't realize.
Comcast is just as big. I mean, Universal Studios is a Comcast company. For example,
Comcast owns a lot. People just don't see it because they're
they don't promote as much.
Well, people see the Disney castle
Disney World
and
is
the
just
Mickey
Disney
Mouse
World.
ears,
Yeah.
and it's like, Disney's just that big brand that everybody knows. Comcast is more almost in a weird way, a shadow company. They're not, but people don't recognize them as instantly as they do Disney because they're not.
Most parent companies don't advertise.
Yeah.
They want their companies they own, or basically their branches, to be advertised because Disney, the unique thing about Disney is they started out as Disney and as a small company,
and then they grew.
So everybody's watched that. Whereas Comcast is really more of just to buy it out. Let's get you out there. Let's get you out there, and you take in. And most companies that we know of have a parent company.
Right.
We just don't know anything
like even
about
Coca-Cola and Pepsi and Gatorade and all of them, they have parent companies and things like that.
Oh yeah, Gatorade isn't it?
Gatorade is Pepsi.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you wouldn't know that.
Right, unless you looked it up.
Yeah.
Like, if people actually looked and saw what Comcast owned, they'd be like, wow, Comcast owns probably more than what Disney does. Probably right around the same.
Individual things, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Like,
I guess if you looked at revenue and stuff like that.
Revenue, Disney probably is more, but like if you took each individual thing.
And I think Disney's just in a hot
Disney,
thing right now. In
Disney's
five to 10 more years,
I'll
be interested to see if Disney's at this pace of just
Yeah.
throwing out things, because right now they've got everything. They are putting everything together. So this is their money making years now. So
let me think. In terms of like Marvel characters, all they really need to do is get the Hulk rights back and Spider-Man back now at this point, right? Namor? Yeah.
Well, the Hulk does include She-Hulk, just for the record. I learned that the other day.
Oh, really? So She-Hulk could appear in the MCU.
What did they end up doing with The Simpsons? Because I know that was a big fact.
They own it.
Yeah, because I know they were flipping back and forth.
That was never leaving. Some people were like,
because I read the other day that was still on the table because of
like Universal theme rights or something.
No, one of the TV stations they had to sell off has Simpsons running on it, and they have partial rights in some way.
Yeah.
But basically, part of the Fox deal was they wanted the Simpsons. Like that is a brand. Whether you still watch it or not, everyone knows who the Simpsons are.
No, they wanted shows like that for Disney Plus.
Very valuable.
Well, and FX, they're going to keep around. They're going to revamp FX, which is just the Simpsons channel right now.
It's going to be New Fox, I think is what they called it.
Maybe, but they also got rid of, just for the record, they did shut down a film studio. Everyone was kind of upset, but I mean, most of the movies
Fox
they made were
Studios
garbage.
still exist because
there were
Fox News.
No,
Fox News didn't get included with the whole Disney thing.
Right. Fox News will remain its own thing.
Yeah.
So they cut like Fox Sports, like quarter of it. Or something.
Any Fox Sports because they already on ESPN. Well, the big thing though is this is just recently they shut down one of the studios that works on like all. This is the thing that frustrates me. Everyone's like, well, that studio shouldn't have been shut down, or this is what happens when Disney buys out. But if you look at the movie track record they make, I mean, like outside of The Hate You Give and maybe Love Simon, I've never seen it. The rest are like Maze Runner or like The Darkest Minds or any of those generic young teen novels.
It would have happened if anybody else got that studio in their deal, though. Comcast would have done it. Like they have Universal Studios. They don't.
I
guess the story would be is if Disney hired those people on to do something with
but like as somebody who went through like a buyout before, like when I worked for Kroger Company here, my stores were bought out by Price Cutter. It's not on the company's fault for selling it. It's on the people acquiring it for not hiring them on. So like, on one hand, you can be upset with Disney all you want, but
it can be extremely hard to hire people on.
Right, but they have all the people they need to keep making movies. Then they're just keeping employees that they can't keep. Like
the thing is, Disney has so much money and so many different studios.
Sure, they do,
so
but
they could probably divvy them up.
But like, viably, what's the point of having X amount of employees when you don't need them?
Right, and I feel bad. 4,000 jobs were lost, so like I do feel bad because that would suck to be like everyone on the internet is like, I'd say 80% of the internet is cheering for this. Yeah, and so you're part of that, and you're sitting there, you're like, man, this sucks because like
there are people. There's those people that
it took their whole careers to probably get to that point of being in the studio doing certain specific things.
I'm sure some bigger name people in that regard probably are well taken care of. I'm more concerned about the smaller guys.
It's the everyday man that did like small things around the studio.
Who knows? Disney might have hired some of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they had to let them go for some sort of write-off thing because it was Fox and then Disney acquired it. I don't know. But either way, the deal is done. There's nothing that can be done about it. Whenever there's buyouts, people lose their jobs.
Yeah.
They just do. It's unfortunately a fact of life because that's just the way corporate business works. It's unfair, but I mean, I get it.
Wait. Two trailers dropped this week. First, the most important one, Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
What am I looking at?
This is probably one of the best trailers that's ever came out.
I will say...
Figure out us on your own.
I will say that I didn't like the trailer except for the one line of, "Oh, look, Dora brought a knife on the school field trip."
I thought that was pretty great.
But, I mean, the rest of it was not a good trailer. But I am curious...
Why is she in high school?
I am curious because Benicio del Toro is voicing Swiper.
Yeah.
And
Danny Trejo is voicing Boots. And I'm like, oh...
There's a lot of things I'm curious about, but I wanted to bring it up because I watched it and I was like, man, this isn't for me, or I don't really care enough. But I remember Dora from...
I just hope that, like, somewhere in the movie, like, we were talking about this just before we started, that, like, she has, like, the 3 squares on, like, what they should do, like, in the
and
show.
She's like, where should we go?
And she, like, pauses, and they're like, who are you talking to? Like, they just break the fourth wall with that because she's basically been doing that her whole life.
Or she's like, backpack, and you're like, what are you doing?
Oh, don't worry, the backpack comes to life, and then it's some haunting CGI imagery that terrifies everyone in the theater.
But
oh, man.
Nobody really cares about Dora. Toy Story 4 had a trailer drop.
Oh.
I was not impacted as much as everyone else was.
Wrong.
Yeah, okay, so...
You're wrong.
No, that trailer did not get me.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
I don't think they're wanting to, though. I think it's more of like, okay, this is Toy Story.
Weird.
You can come and watch this if you want. Otherwise, you can accept 3 as your definitive ending.
It'll be good. I think Toy Story 4 will be great.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna disappoint. But that trailer was just weird.
I'm really curious about what they're gonna do.
I didn't
with
feel comfortable with that trailer.
The spork.
Yes. I think they called him Forky.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious about that because he's
not
a toy, but he came to life.
Yeah, it really bothers me because the internet has pointed out a lot of things. They're like, well, if that can come to life, what else can come to life?
Right.
Yeah, you just put some eyes.
Googly eyes.
Yeah, on anything, and it just comes to life. Is that how Cars comes out?
I mean,
just put googly eyes on there, and you got
Toy
the whole
Story
Cars
3
universe.
even mentioned the Christmas decorations, and Woody's like, "Oh, those guys, they're fun, right?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, they're fun." So Christmas decorations can come to life too, apparently. So it's like, what has a soul in this universe?
They always say toys, so they've always mentioned toys.
Yeah,
but is he a toy or is he just a creation from a child? And is that child's imagination?
Didn't see that as a spork or whatever. They saw it as a toy. Right.
So it's just is it a child's love that creates the life inside the toys? And then what happens when that child abandons them? That's why those villains before have become villains?
What's it?
No, I did like that the spork basically just wanted to die.
Yeah,
I don't want to spiritual level.
I'm not meant to live.
I'm meant to be used for soup or something else and then throw it away in the trash.
Take my eyes off, please.
But I like Bo Peep coming back was really sweet. I thought there were moments I liked where he's like, I was created for a child's love or whatever.
And he was like, I was created to love a child. And I was just like, this movie's going to get really emotional by the end.
I do think I'll get emotional at the end because
it has to.
Yeah.
Right? But that trailer did not capture any emotion at all. And it was I thought it was really weird how it was put together.
I think by the end, people will be getting those Toy Story 3 feels all over again.
I do think it'll be good.
After Toy Story 3... that's the hard part. It's like they added something that shouldn't be added, in my opinion. But when I saw the trailer, I was ready. Okay,
I was ready to jump back in because
it
looks like they're doing something way different with this movie.
The discussion everyone has is when Toy Story 1 came out, everyone was like, the perfect film. So every time there's been a sequel, there's always people who are like, we don't need this. Mm-hmm. This is unnecessary. And then it's good. It's good. Toy Story is, I think it's on Rotten Tomatoes and statistically.
I am just praying that this isn't just a money grabber and it's still quality. That the quality is still there from the
I hope
ones.
so.
I think they're still gonna do something with this universe and make it different.
I can see them spinning off spin-off movies off of this. I really do.
I hope they don't do that. I hope that
Pixar is limited on how many movies they do a year, so I hope that we don't just see now the Toy Story cinematic
I could see adventures with
But they do TV show shorts, and so I'm okay if you were like, hey, we made this movie, and then we're still gonna do these yearly. But do not take away my original products like Coco or Incredibles 3.
Yeah.
My thing
or Cars 4.
My thing is what I think they're gonna do is it's gonna get away from the house. The toys are finally gonna be in a whole different.
It looked like in the trailer there was some toy paradise or something.
Well, so it's a road trip where It's going to be everything I've understood. It's the carnival. Basically, the carnival is going to be the main focus.
Yeah. Which you think about all the things in a carnival, all the stuffed animals and all.
You think about us and everything in the carnival. Boom. Yeah, you go.
We'll get to that.
But no, I do think worst case. I think worst case scenario, it's
Shazam's
good.
also in the carnival.
Yeah, it does have. There's
a lot of scenes in the carnival.
Worst case scenario, Toy Story 4 is good. Best case scenario, it's a masterpiece.
It's the best one.
I don't think it's bad.
I can't accept that it's going to be bad, but what I just don't want, you get all these fills back up again, and then we just go through this, and it's like, okay, are we having closure, or is this a new opportunity?
Yeah, is this going to be the actual end?
Or is this its own, 4, 5, and 6?
Tom Hanks is like, I'm done with this, and
Tim Allen,
and they're both
through it.
Yeah, and they're both done. So
they've said that a lot, though.
Yeah, that's true. But does Woody disappear? I
like to
they
think
can't have
that
a new
this
voice
has
for
to be
him.
the last one to me, because when they did Toy Story 3, they gave it such a definitive end in terms of separation from Andy. So I'm thinking, based on the trailer, this is just my prediction. Maybe Woody doesn't go back with
I do wonder if Woody stays behind with Bo
think
Peep.
Woody stays with Bo Peep.
And that's why Tom Hanks cried.
Yeah, and that's the actual ending. They separate Woody and Buzz after what would be almost 20 years.
The only scene that did kind of get me in the feels is when they flash back to Andy.
Yeah.
I was like, oof.
Yeah. I still think about toys that I had as a kid, and I'm like, I wonder how much this runs on eBay, just to be curious. And they're really
what's that value?
And I'm like, man, if I would have bought 2 of those as a kid.
But it does make you miss your childhood. I still think about things that
it makes
I
you
used
think about
to
your
do.
childhood.
When I didn't have to work every day of my life and could just sit in my parents' basement.
When you had time to dream. But I don't know. It'll be. I'm very interested in this. Also, there's just a lot of stuff coming out that's really.
This year in film is just going to be so good.
Now, I have been pretty disappointed in most films this year, except for one! Shazam! Let's get into it.
Okay, so do we want to,
So, Shazam was fantastic. I'll just say that.
I'm trying to, think about how I want to word this, because I liked Shazam a lot.
Shazam is if you took the concept of big, and you took every superhero movie, and you took all the cheesiness of the 80s, mix it in a pot, and then you got perfection. It's right there. Now, granted, Shazam isn't a perfect film. I get that. But it's the cheesiness, the campiness, it has the heart, the action. It's everything like I wanted from a Shazam movie.
That is one of the best origin superhero films that I've seen coming out of either Marvel
I think this
or
is
DC.
one of the better origins we've gotten in a long time.
Yeah, I think it is. Just because you see just the story, how it comes about with the kid and everything, and you get the classic bullying kind of thing and blah blah blah, and it has. I think some of the origin of Shazam is kind of interesting because it literally is just a mix. And if you know the history behind Shazam, which I'm sure our friend Brandon over here knows all
not
about
enough, but I know enough. Just for the record, we will not talk about anything in the third act. Because there is a lot of cool twists and turns that happen throughout the movie, which I wanted but wasn't expecting to happen in this one. So this is spoiler free. We probably won't do a spoiler cast on this right now. I'd rather wait and see the second time.
We're too
far out.
It's what, 2-3 weeks before the movie comes out for everybody. So
but I do agree.
Maybe then we can do it.
At least in this modern era of superhero films, since Iron Man, I would say. I mean, I honestly can't think of another one that I enjoyed.
I can't think of another one that I really compare to.
Because I don't count Black Panther and I don't count Spider-Man.
I don't either because those characters were introduced.
Yeah, but straight up, this is who Shazam is or how it all came about.
Started off,
and that's what I was talking to one of my family members today just about how they didn't like Captain Marvel that much. And I said, well, if you didn't like Captain Marvel, you'll probably really like Shazam just on the contrast of... And I want this comparison because you've got both the Marvel kind of things, which I love how Captain Marvel and Shazam both came out back to back.
Right,
I
don't
love
think
that
that's
because
any
they're so close.
From DC or Marvel.
They're so close together.
Right, and I mean like all the history of them. So but anyway, so Zachary Levi stole the show.
Fantastic.
He is a phenomenal superhero.
And I mean, he's not a no-namer, but he's
a B tier. Yeah. He's a B tier celebrity who always should have been an A tier, but because of Chuck, because of being like he did. He's entangled. Like people know him, they just don't
recognize him that well. Yeah. And the thing is now they will. Yeah. But
after this, he's gonna become a high-profile game.
All the kid actors did really, really well in it. What's the kid? The Shazam.
Billy
is really good.
I meant the actual actor.
Oh, I don't know.
Asher
something,
Yeah, I can't. I just saw
it'll drive me crazy
yesterday.
But no, him and the kid who has the crutches were both really
I thought they did really well. Even the little girl.
Yeah, the little
girl.
Darla. Yeah.
Darla's adorable.
She was awesome. But positives, I'll talk about the positives. I thought it flowed really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
I know Brandon said, and you haven't mentioned this in the podcast yet, but you said it was a little slow at the beginning. I didn't really think it was that slow, to be honest. And I'm always a big advocate on how slow a movie runs.
Asher Angel.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I didn't think it was slow, but
I think here's my thing. So just
you got a lot more ifs. I want to hear about Zach's.
Just to clarify the slow comment is, I think every superhero origin has the same problem.
Yeah.
None of them have ever perfected it. Strange kind of got there, but not to the extent because it rushed.
Strange went 0 to 100 real fast.
Yeah, but my problem is you have to.
I liked it. Yeah.
You have to introduce the characters. You have to give motivation. You have to see why should you have them.
I thought they did it properly. Though.
I do like that. We spent a little too much time with the villain. That's my problem.
Yeah,
that opening was long.
It was, and then for a split second, I was like, wait. And I'm like, oh, this is the villain.
Yeah.
For about the first 2 minutes, I'm like, this isn't the kid. I
was
trying to figure out what was going on for a second.
At least 10 minutes in that opening.
I think I almost appreciated it because first it didn't start out with the hero. It started off with the villain, and it starts building something that it's foreshadowing, right?
Right. Well, I think it's fine. I think the scene, like everything they do. Oh, okay, let me phrase that. I think if you had cut the scene down just a few minutes, and part of it is. In that scene, at the end of the scene, when he's getting blamed for something, I thought something else happened, and then when that wasn't, I was like, well, that kind of ruins part of the...
Yeah.
But what I liked about it, though, is it helped not make Billy's version of explaining how or why or what was going on and all that, because you already kind of know what's going on a little bit. So once he has his time in that, you're like, okay, well, I know these things and blah, 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 and this thing and whatever, it's all working out because... Once he comes into that scene, which, the villain was in, you're like, oh, okay, so this is what's going to happen from here.
I just did not like the villain at the beginning. I was just like, this is going on too long. I have the same thing. I was like, this opening scene is like 3 to 5 minutes too long for me. Like,
if it had been just cut down to be like, without spoiling it,
that's the
if
hard
it was just
part.
it was much quicker because you could do the motivation much faster. Be like,
you could, and so
But I mean, the movie's runtime isn't that long, so I imagine part of it was like, well, let's keep all of it because the movie's under 2 hours and 10 minutes. Yeah. So like,
I don't know. I think apart from that, I really liked this film. I thought the sense of humor was great.
I love the humor,
and that's what DC has been so serious with all their stuff.
Yeah.
And when you get finally something like that, which I can't wait till he's like working with the Justice League or whatever they're going to do with them, you're going to have that little bit of a Flash kind of funniness, which I don't really like the current Flash, to be honest.
The genre of this film is so much different than what DC has been establishing since Man of Steel.
Yeah.
So it's nice to just have a definitive change of pace. Like Aquaman had some humor.
Like
all of them have had humor, but this movie is like
think about
a comedy
Aquaman
the whole way
and
through.
Shazam, like just doing something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited for because Aquaman and Wonder Woman, they were good movies to me.
We did say Aquaman was a 6. Let's remember that.
Huh?
We did say Aquaman was a 6.
I still think I did like Aquaman personality-wise. That's what I'm talking.
Okay, you said movie, so I was like, let's remember.
Yeah, sorry,
what our score was.
It was a 9, right? No, not necessarily the movie as a whole, but like the actual characters and stuff. Jason and so I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest issue I had with Shazam is you had that build up, and I'm trying not to ruin anything here, where he starts to get that courage back and stuff. I felt like that happened over and over, and I love the struggle there.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's happened one too many times. Like that build up, and he's like, he falls down, he goes and then he yells Shazam or whatever, and you're like, okay, I love when he does that, but like, you've done that too many times in like such a small amount of time, because it was just an ongoing fight, you know.
Yeah, I didn't think it was cool though. Every time he like was like in action, he would go Shazam, transform back into kid.
I love Shazam. I love that. But when he goes under the legs and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like there's moments I do agree where like it is very like, and it feels more like
ruin anything, but in the carnival scene. When over and over, there's a few too many times. I'm like, okay, I'm like, maybe you just, you know, I don't know. But I get the power struggle, and the cool thing about it is it's showing a kid trying to learn something.
Yeah.
And I think he did a great job of showing that kid kind of mentality still, while like trying to transform into a hero and make hero decisions.
Yeah.
So I thought that was great acting. I thought how they told the story and the peak of it. The villain, a little bit. What's that guy's name?
Mark Strong.
Yes,
he's a good actor.
He's always been a good actor and everything, and he always plays the villain kind of mentality. Really,
except
really
for Kingsman, where
yes,
I loved him. I do agree.
Take me home.
I do think he is a good actor.
That's my favorite part of the whole.
I do think he's a good actor, but I don't know if I love the villain. Isn't great. It's another. Here's the thing with the villain. The villain is too much like Black Adam. It needed to be something different.
I do agree with that.
Because what's the point of having him? Because you're just in a few movies going to have Black Adam show up.
Well,
and you're like, this is just like before.
And I'm trying not to spoil anything, but when they're on the rooftop and he realizes, oh, here's his weakness or whatever. And I kind of actually enjoy that part because there's like another element to that.
Yeah.
And you expose his weakness. Yes, and he exposes something that, I mean, we all kind of knew that was kind of probably going to happen, maybe, if you're really thinking about the movie. But like how he does it, and he goes, wait, there's still one more thing.
Yeah.
And then when he's looking at him or whatever, and then like as Billy, as a kid's mind or whatever, like trying to figure out that weakness or whatever, I thought that was actually really cool.
Yeah. Now my big takeaways, I'll state my positives. I love Zachary Levi. I loved all the kids. The family is great. Like I wish some of them were explored a little more, but I mean it's hard. You cannot do. It's
all
Billy's.
Those kids.
At the end of the day, it's Billy's story.
Yep.
So they already give Freddie a lot of screen time, and trying to do like the rest of the family
and stuff.
It's hard to do that, and that's what I didn't want them to. That was my fear.
I think they really did a good job with at least the
introducing
Darla
them,
and
the older sister.
Which that was kind of. They really chip-chopped with her a little bit.
Yeah, but like the other
you got
two,
a little bit, and then the other two
there's not enough. Like two of them, there's two of them that basically get ignored. Like have a few throwaway lines and cool moments, but like one of them says like almost no dialogue.
Yeah.
And so like I'm
Until
fine with
the
it.
End. Yeah,
he's just there.
I'm fine with it. It's just at the end of the day, I'm like, I wish there was more because like they are so close to Freddy. Maybe it's the neighbor's dog. But I think. Everything else I really liked about it. The villain wasn't great though. Like that would be one of my negatives.
That's the only real complaint I have.
And then the pacing at the beginning was a little slow. But like once you get him and Shazam, like it just flew by. Like the rest of it was like
once he gets his powers and everything.
Once they start playing around with it and he's like trying to figure things out.
What's awesome about it is the commercials did not ruin
they don't
all the funny parts. Like of course they have like the gas station scene or whatever in there.
Yeah, which I mean like
but there's a lot more in the gas station scene that you see on there, and I thought I was really praying that was not one of the only funny scenes out of that when he's like learning his powers and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a ton more in there which made it a lot better in that because that's like your prime like humor right there.
Right.
So.
Like they really let you just have fun with the idea of we don't know what your powers are.
Yeah, and they're trying to figure out. There's a lot of scenes which I won't ruin because I don't want to ruin anything.
Right, like the one, like there's one in the trailer where like he's on like a half pipe and he's trying to see if he can fly. Like that actually was still just as funny in the movie in context because of all the other like tests that they do for like to see what are your powers.
One other thing too is I like the struggle not because of the superhero side of it, but because it's the actual kid side of it, and his backpack is still reflecting through the whole thing. Which they do that. Most hero movies have like that, that interpersonal thing going on. But I felt like as a kid they did it really, really well where I could connect with that. We could probably all connect with that a little bit.
And I like that the villain wasn't dumb.
Exactly.
That was the only thing I will say about Mark Strong's character is I like that at the end of the day, like there's stuff that happens and he's just like, he like looks at the TV and he's like, okay, I know what to do now. And he's not like, man, what do I do? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, he's a really smart villain. That is one thing about him that I liked. But
this one's a little bit more like DC is a little bit more when like his first real scene of like doing a villainous kind of thing, you're like, holy crap. I was sitting next to a dad and a kid or whatever, and I was like thinking about that kid, and I'm like, this may be a little much for him.
Yeah, there was a few things in there that I was like, this is because it's from a horror director, so like anything that was like,
and I mean, you have that scene where they're up against the window or whatever, and the one guy's looking at that. I'm like, holy crap!
There's some horror elements
but
here.
I liked it because it showed like this guy's not messing around kind of thing, and you have somebody that's a lot stronger of a villain, which we were just talking about, but.
Yeah.
You realize that Billy's like, oh, this isn't like some like, and you have Freddy who's like supposedly this superhero expert or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I love that little sidekick kind of thing going on, which they reference that a lot. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I thought it was a little bit. There was definitely a couple scenes that were borderline, like where you're like, wow. I did not expect that from Shazam because it's still lighthearted for a little bit and then goes 0 to 100 for a second. Like, holy crap! And then it goes back and you're like, okay, here's a. You got your black and white right here, and it really defines where that villain is. Where some of these storylines, you almost feel bad for the villain a little bit.
And that's a good villain. Any villain that you can sympathize with. Well, there's two kinds of villains.
Yeah.
There's the straight evil one that you just like watching them, like Joker. But then there's like ones that you sympathize with, Thanos and Killmonger.
Well, you can even sympathize with him too because he didn't get that.
Yeah,
at the very beginning.
I get that too to an extent, but some of it is like Zach had a problem with that. He was like,
I was like, this is like evil mustache twirling guy. Like
he's just a guy in my opinion.
But he's thinking about his childhood though, and this is the same thing that Billy was going through.
I get
it's
that.
a mirror.
At present time,
it's super mirror. Similar, and they even point that out in the movie, like towards the end.
Every superhero has a very similar villain story to
which is why it made sense for this to be the villain in the movie. Mm-hmm. But for me, I was just like, it's almost too on the nose, like with the. Almost cliche with like the villain's origin compared to Billy's, I guess.
Yeah.
Which was my thing. I was like, some point like.
And I mean, if we look at most origin superhero movies, there's so many cliche things.
Yeah, and it's like at the end of the day, it's a comic book movie, so I'm gonna let that go.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, sure.
I've had to learn to like just. Those little cliche things, I'm like, you just kind of have to let them go with some of these because they have to follow a certain comic. You have to realize comics are just so cliche in general.
Well, right,
well, yeah, they're like, I mean, yeah.
And I get that, and I'm fine with that. It's just there's sometimes I'm like, I would like a little different.
I'd like something to go in a little bit of a different direction, and for the most part, this movie did. I think this movie is a step in the right direction overall for DC.
But I felt that with Wonder Woman, and then I got Justice League. So just for the record, that every
so what you're saying is every once in a while we get a good one, and then we get like 2 to 3 crappy ones.
And the hard part is Justice League. I don't think they had the right approach to it.
No, I think it was just rushed. But I'm just saying, like, don't like every time I'm like, this is a step in the right direction, I get burned.
Oh yeah, don't get your hopes up. But I mean, I think you have enough. Quality of characters, and actors. Whatever happens with Ben Affleck is whatever.
He's gone.
Oh, he's gone.
Well, yeah.
But so let's wrap up. Shazam. Give final thoughts. I love it. I'm like, I didn't talk a whole lot during this because this is like Ryan adores this film.
Yeah, I really like it.
And so I wanted to let him have it, but I love the movie. It's cheesy, it's fun. I'm a big fan of Shazam in the comics. Mm-hmm. The New 52 Shazam isn't one I love as much, which that's what unfortunately this one is inspired from. But this movie is a giant cheese fest. Uh-huh. If you're not going to be okay with that, you're probably not going to like it. So just remember that going in. Overall, I do enjoy the film. It is a strong recommendation for me. It's a solid 8 out of 10. Like, I like it a lot. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite DCEU film. Superhero-wise, I don't know where I'd put it in my top, if I'd put it in a top 10 of all time, superhero movies, but I do really like the film. I do strongly recommend it. I recommend you just sit back, enjoy the film. Mm-hmm. It's not a turn off your brain, but it is a sit there and, hey, let's just enjoy this movie. Let's just have fun. Let's just take our time and think, what would I, as a 14-year-old kid, be like as a superhero? Mm-hmm. And just enjoy that. Yeah. This movie isn't meant to win Oscars. It's not meant to be like that groundbreaking one, but it's meant to have fun. So just overall, I love it. But I'll let you guys talk now.
I agree. I think that if you were to give this movie a score, I would say an 8 out of 10. It's really solid, especially for a company that, in a lot of ways, I lost faith in a long time ago. Because I've always thought that DC's characters are very well written in their source material. They just have trouble adapting that. this was the first time where I felt like they did really well with everything going on. Sorry, we heard something, but I just really liked the movie. I think that everything with Zachary Levi is really good. This is going to sound weird, but he captures being a 14-year-old kid really, really well. Like, you can see the Billy in the Shazam character.
Yeah.
Like, when he does certain things, which I really liked because I was like, sure, just because he turns into Shazam doesn't mean that he's going to fully be this other character / person. I really enjoyed seeing him in his superhero get up, essentially.
Yeah.
Still being a kid.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best part of the movie for me. I'm like, they really made me care about both sides of this character, and they both interact in a weird way. Like, you see Billy grow by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But you also see the childish side of, like, Zachary Levi's side of the character, which was what I was hoping they captured the best, and I thought they did really well with that. I thought that all the kids were great, like we already said. I pretty much agree with everything Brandon said about the film. I would give it an 8.
I would like to add the costume is phenomenal. Like,
yeah, it's
a perfect. DC is getting it done right with the perfect comic accurate costumes.
So, I probably liked it a little bit more than Zach and Brandon, but this is one of my favorite superhero, at least origin films. I could probably make a good debate. It's one of my favorite, just general superhero films. Definitely one of my favorite DC films by far. One of the best things about this is that it gives me a little bit of hope in DC, because we always go up and down with DC right now, and that's what we were just talking about. This film gave me a lot more encouragement that, hey, they have something. I don't know if their whole game plan for the whole universe is great. Hopefully this is a better Kickstarter, but at least gets me more of like, hey, if they have another Justice League type movie and Shazam's in it, at least I know that Zachary Levi is going to be playing that character, hopefully, and they don't mess that one up. And I've got, there's going to be a little bit more better chemistry maybe on set, hopefully, because he seems like a pretty laid-back guy. With that, I think Shazam is a really, really fun type film. Kind of like what Brain was saying. It's not that serious with DC compared to other DC films, where it's just more of that. And they got rid of the slow motion stuff.
Except for one shot.
One shot.
And that moment, I did audibly in the theater go,
Yep, and I instantly thought about that, but it wasn't.
It wasn't over.
It wasn't crazy. I wouldn't have put it in there, but they did it.
I did forget about that.
I was praying that it wasn't going to continue to do that, and they didn't. So that's your one spoiler, I guess, is that when you do see that, I don't think there's anything else slow motion wise.
There wasn't. There was just the one.
Yeah, I think that was it. But it definitely. Instantly. I was like, oh crap! They're about to go through this whole action thing with that. Thankfully, they didn't do that. There wasn't a lot of music, which, if you guys noticed, there wasn't a lot of during the action scenes, there wasn't a lot of. It wasn't filmed like how the other DC films were in the action scenes. I don't think on some of the action.
Yeah.
If you think, I don't know.
I'd have to watch it again.
Yeah. I didn't get that vibe of another. Honestly, if you told me if Marvel or DC filmed this one, I don't know if I would be able to tell you very well on if you just had no idea who filmed it. I don't know who did it. I couldn't tell you if Marvel or DC did it, just because it looked so different from the regular DC, how they shot it, in my opinion. And that can be something we can debate about some other time. But with that, I've been debating on an 8.5 to 9. I'm going to go with 9 right now. I always don't like to give that solid score until I watch it again, because I definitely think rewatchability is a huge factor.
I do think this is rewatchable.
I definitely think it's rewatchable, but I like to rewatch it again and see how it plays out, because I'm more anticipating things. Now that I already know, I like to rewatch it and see how that plays out. And more of like, okay, I already know what's going to happen. Let's see if this is just an enjoyable movie without me trying to guess, because that's a big factor for me. Yeah. So I'm going to put it at 9 right now. It could drop down to 8.5, maybe if I just, if I see a few more errors with it. But I just think it's a fun film. Like I said, if you don't like Captain Marvel that much, I think you're going to like Shazam a little bit better, in my opinion, just on how it's paced and stuff. perhaps. This, like I said, all the actors were really done well. I think the very end is just a unique way of ending something. I can't spoil anything, but there's a lot of interesting things that kind of goes with it. And just if you think about comic books, I feel like this is a very good comic book adaptation of a character. Just straight off if you just read a comic book and you look at it, I feel like they did really well with it. Like I said, I already kind of said what my negatives were, but if you guys are kind of on the fence with seeing it, I would highly suggest you go see it. I think it's just a good film, and I can't wait to watch it again. I just have to wait 2 more weeks to see it again, so that sucks.
That is the problem.
That is the problem, because I was thinking about, I'm like, I'll just go see. Oh wait, we saw it way too early.
I still haven't seen Lego Movie 2 again. Like I said, I would, and I don't even know if it's in theaters anymore.
I don't think it is.
I don't know. There are 2 after credit scenes for Shazam, so make sure you see for both.
Yes.
Yes, there's one at the very, very end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you have to wait for that one.
Okay, so that wraps up Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
So, we saw the movie Us, which for those, I'll quickly go. This is Jordan Peele's
second movie
film
that he's directed.
And I've seen it twice. Zach has seen it once. So, I want to start out by saying the first time I viewed this movie, I did not like it. I liked a lot of it, but I didn't like some of it. Second viewing, I don't know if I'm just more lenient or if I actually did really, really like it. I do think it is a good movie. Like, I'm going to start out by saying I do think it's a good movie. I think it's well acted. Is it Winston Duke?
Winston Duke
and oh my gosh,
Lupita Nyong'o. I know I just
Nyong'o's right. I don't know the first part.
I just butchered her first name, but Lupita Nyong'o. We'll just go with that.
We're gonna say Nyong'o.
What?
Just the last part.
Okay, yeah. They both do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, especially her, because all of them have to act as 2 characters. Remember, no. Yeah. Let's say second act. No second act spoilers.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that happen that I think that there's because there's things I could say we're going to do a spoiler talk because I have to talk about a few things. But for our peer review, the movie overall is a psychological thriller that has you questioning a lot of things, has you wondering about a lot of things, and overall I do genuinely like the movie. I think the acting is great. The kids are really good too.
There's not a single person in the movie that I think does a bad job.
Right. I think Jordan Peele knows exactly what he needs, what he wants out of his actors, and he gets that.
Yeah.
I don't think his actors hold back with him. I think he's able to get 110% from everyone.
Yeah.
My negative... so I do like the setting. Like, the story's very original.
Yeah.
It feels like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
It does.
Which gives me a lot of hope for his Twilight Zone series.
Twilight Zone, yeah. I got the same feel. I was like, this could be an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and for all I know, maybe his movies will be adapted into The Twilight Zone. I don't know. I doubt it. but like, I love the beginning part of the movie a lot. Where
the opening 10 minutes is really good.
The opening 10 minutes is really good.
It sets the tone, gives you a nice chill. Right. Everything that happens is shot really well.
Mm-hmm. The movie in general is shot beautifully well. Jordan Peele as a director just has these little things that, like, after you're done watching the movie, even like the smallest thing will start to make sense. Like, not getting into spoilers, but even like the color red, for example, like all of the doppelgangers are wearing red. In the trailer, like, and even at the beginning of the movie, like, the color red is a recurring thing that you see, and it's like, okay, well, that obviously means something, like, and then just being that there's other people, obviously there's stuff going on there, like, I don't want to get into super big spoilery stuff yet.
So let's the problem is this part's gonna be very quick because of the movie overall. To really talk about it, you have to spoil a lot of it,
right? Because everything in the movie all ties back into one key moment.
Well, yeah. So here's what we're going to say. So let's do this. Would you recommend people watch it, score, and any highlights you want to talk about?
I would recommend that people watch it for sure. If I had to give it a score out of 10, I would say probably 7 or 7.5.
Okay, so we're not.
Somewhere in that range. Honestly, if the trailer doesn't hook you alone, I would say you need to go and see the scene where they first meet the doppelgangers for the first time, because that was incredible. Yeah. I was like, there's this moment where they meet their other selves for the first time, and they don't really. I don't know if this is a spoiler.
If you think it's a spoiler, it might be. Don't say it.
But like, it's just like they build that tension up so well, and like in the trailer, the mom is like, "Get your shoes on. Like we've got to go. Like something's wrong." And like you get that feeling from the first second you see the family in the movie, like their doppelganger family. Like as soon as you see them, you're like, nope, this is wrong. We got to get out of here. Like, and you're thinking that, but at the same time, like the movie in a weird way almost has a sense of humor about it as well with Winston Duke.
Yeah, there's some
breaks that I'm just like, this shouldn't be here in a weird way. But I get that you want to have some moment of relief where you're not constantly feeling like you're being terrorized watching a film. Yeah. Especially when it's one as psychological as this one. Because otherwise your mind's just going to be thinking about every single little thing that's like on screen. So like they do a good job with making you care about this family from the very beginning. And even the side characters are interesting. Like I want to know more about their neighbors that they have.
Yeah, I don't remember their names, but yeah.
But like, all of the characters in the movie are well acted, so it's not like, oh well, I want you to die in this movie. Like, whenever you see a movie like that's essentially a horror film, it's not really a horror film, which was my main reason for not wanting to go see it. But then I was talked into seeing it. So if you're on the fence about that, as a guy who does not normally watch horror films, go see Us, because it's very interesting. You will think a lot about what you're looking at. You won't know what you're looking at until after you're done watching the movie, and then you're still going to want to look things up.
And this makes me want to see it, even though I hate scary movies.
It's not scary.
So
that's the problem. And so
can I do like a double jinx on you guys?
Okay.
Okay, cool.
So my quick thoughts of just the pure movie. It's incredibly well acted. Like, oh my gosh. The psychological part of it is good, but I'll talk about it later in my spoiler because I have a lot of thoughts. I've thought about this movie a lot. The acting's well. The moments where you're supposed to be tense, seeing in a theater, for me, our first viewing, I wasn't super tense, but just the reaction the audience gives, like our showing last night, people were like flipping out.
People were really into it.
And so like that's what I love about
there was a girl that was sitting next to me who like kept freaking out anytime something happened. And I was like, okay, look, it's only 10 minutes into the movie. We haven't even gotten to that point yet. Like,
but overall, I would say there's a lot that I do like about the film. It has very, very strong first two acts. I love the acting. My biggest complaints are I feel like the humor, there's too much of it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm fine with it, and it is a coping mechanism. Like, I would use... honestly, that's the thing, is I think I would be like that in that situation.
Maybe.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. And so, to me, some of it just feels a little off.
I feel like I'd probably just kill myself. I'd be like, oh, there's one that could take my place. I'm like, we were supposed to do that.
But overall, though, I do think it's worth your watch. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as Get Out. No. I think Get Out is a 10 out of 10. If I had to hold a standard for what I think all horror movies should live up to, or psychological thrillers, or Jordan Peele himself, I think Get Out is like a perfect film. I think this is a 7.5. I do like it a lot, and it could have been a 9. There's a lot of things I would change. I just want that to be clear. Even if I love this movie, I still don't think it would have been a 10. There's just a few things that I wish had been differently. But a 7.5, I feel like that's worthy of the movie. So overall, thank you for listening. We will have a spoiler talk. Just give me 1 second, people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. You can catch us on Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Follow Zach on Twitch at JitteryJackanape.
Yeah, thanks.
Remember, if you have Twitch Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime. So remember to subscribe and link those together.
We will be doing a giveaway starting tomorrow, and for 1 week, for every share, if you share our post, like it, I will be giving something away on the next show. It'll be a surprise until tomorrow.
It's going to be Ryan's leftover Little Caesars.
So I won't lie, I didn't even know this giveaway was happening.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Can I participate in said giveaway?
Surprise.
No, it's definitely favoritism.
But no, we will actually, I will take everybody's names down and we will draw it on the show next Sunday. So, just giving you guys a heads up, I will post more information tomorrow.
Okay, and so we will... Okay. We should also make sure to share it on Twitter.
Yes.
Part of this there should be a like or a follow and retweet.
Yeah, as long as you guys are following us on one of these platforms that you share it on, I'm completely okay with that.
Yeah.
Just make sure that you are sharing our post. If you share it and you like it, we're just trying to spread the word, and this helps us. And you guys will get to have a chance at a super awesome prize. So just letting you know. And there may be multiple.
Is it a pair of MeUndies?
It could be Brandon's undies, but
I know I said MeUndies. The website. Please sponsor us, MeUndies.
And Brandon's undies.
Okay.
Well,
Anyway.
Surprise, Rollins. What?
Thank you for this episode of Nothing Coherent. We kind of rambled just there for the last 30 seconds, but we're gonna.
Isn't that what we do? Like
every
I mean,
episode.
that's what we do. Episode. But this was where it got really weird.
Okay, so our spoiler discussion on us. If Ryan kept all this in, you just heard a lot of weird stuff, and a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
We're trying to light a candle.
So let's sit down. Let's TED Talk here.
Okay.
So us. I want to talk about some negatives. I want to start with the negative stuff that I have.
That's fine.
One, the twist of them switching. What's the point?
I kind of feel the same way.
What was the point of that? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And that's the thing about twist.
I think on one hand it kind of does though.
But what if? Okay, so just hear me out. Here would have been an easy thing. Don't give her the Thriller T-shirt.
Yeah.
And she just has the Hands Across America. Mm-hmm. Okay. The girl goes in the thing. The other girl sees her. She does run away, but she always remembers there's another one of me and the Hands Across America. So eventually she does just leave.
Sure.
Because she does do. This is the thing. This is what people have argued with me. I don't think it makes sense for her to just, like, when she leaves and goes up there, like, they weren't following the same path because they weren't tethered, they weren't mirroring each other. She just did whatever she wanted.
Yeah, no, but that one she was the special one.
Right, and so, like, what I'm saying is it doesn't matter if she had just stayed down there and led them and been like, I want that life. So at the end of the day...
Right, but the reason that she left was, I think, because she found the version of herself on the surface. Like, on one hand, she probably would have never left the...
Well, she knew she was going there. Like, that part I agree with. She knew at the end of the day she was going to be there.
Right. So, I think, on one hand, why it matters is that, on one hand, you have to think, because this was a government conspiracy, right, to control the people, which, again, Jordan Peele, I love the way you write, because the throwaway line about fluoride in the water, I did not think was going to come back, and then it did. That
is my problem, though, is, like, for me, every line of dialogue... Early on, I hooked on. I was like, this means something.
Even the thing with the flare gun. I was like, okay, that's a nice callback. Everything has a callback. But for me, I liked thinking about it like this. The tethered are human. Like, they have human characteristics.
They just don't have a soul.
Do they or do they not?
That's the debate. So there's a lot of... But hold on. Let's run back to the twist, though. You agree with me, though, that at the end of the day, that was very unnecessary to an extent.
I think it was to show that the tethered do have souls, though. That's my thing, because the one that switches ends up having a regular life, ends up going off and having 2 kids and marries...
Right. So part of the theory, though, is the nature versus nurture. Yeah. Is that, depending on the situation, they have a soul. Like, all of them might have a soul,
right?
But because of how they were raised...
I think they all do, and because of the way they were abandoned in the tunnels underground...
They just don't.
That they lost their humanity. Which maybe the little girl, having however old she was, she probably felt bad for those people and she wanted them to get to the surface. Maybe that's why she didn't leave.
Maybe that. I don't know. That adds on to another problem I have, which this is just a very nitpicky thing.
That's a whole other thing, though, because it's like I'm just so confused. Like I like to think that maybe she just felt like she couldn't escape, or maybe that she was overwhelmed.
Yes, so part of the twist is they switch places. And then the one you follow at the beginning of the movie stays, so basically the good one and the bad one. The bad one comes up to the surface, she lives her life. The bad one's the one we follow the entire movie. And the good one gets choked out, is left underground, and my problem is once she gets free, why didn't she just leave? I understand that it's revenge. Like, people have been like, well, it's about revenge, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, like, she could have went to the surface, had started talking with the police, and been like, blah, 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 all this stuff. I don't think there would have been that issue. I get that, like, for the message of the movie, for all them talking about hate. The movie's a lot about hate.
Maybe
and
there's something
the situation
with
you grew up.
Like, maybe it has something to do with just the environment. Like,
right,
I don't know. Like, I think maybe we have no idea how long she was actually tied up and left down there either.
Right, but it couldn't have been more than a few days.
Maybe not.
And like, we know she was down there before. So there's a moment where they both dance. And the dance shows that, which I still don't understand fully, because it would have been the same dance as what she did up top.
Right.
The dance shows, though, that the tethered understood that she was, like, special.
Yeah.
But they said a few years passed.
Yeah.
So that means, I get that you're like,
here's my problem. Big thing is, how did she get unhandcuffed in the basement? Like, how did she get out? Because everybody down in the basement
does whatever everyone up top does. Yeah, I wondered that too.
So my thinking is maybe maybe when that first tethered leaves, all of them start to change. We don't know that for sure though, because I was thinking about that. I was like, if she's been handcuffed here, she can't mimic what the one upstairs can't do anything else. She just has to lay down with her hand over her wrist, essentially. But it's like, well, that one's different. That one's special. So to me, I'm like, maybe there was some sort of thing, like reality-based thing that broke when one escaped. Because I don't know how you handle that. Like, I feel like the switch is fine, but in the context of how the other tethered act, it doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah. Now my other problem is why do we need the tether follow what happens up top? Because they're only linked by DNA. I don't understand why your shadow, your tethered, would have to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
That to me still bothers me, because I'm like, at the end of the day, it is nitpicky. I get that. I get everyone has been like, you're very nitpicky.
I think it's supposed to be symbolic of how some people aren't treated as well as others, maybe.
Okay,
like
but
I've read so many different things now, and I'm still really confused. Like, you said that you read like 4 or 5 different articles.
I've read several people think it might be a political statement of like.
On some level, it has to be because fans across America.
Well, because she also says we are Americans. Mm-hmm. At the end, the boy knows that the mom is the bad one, because the bad mom lives. The bad mom kills the good mom at the end of the day.
Right, and that's after we find out.
Yeah, found out the switch. No, we don't find out the switch of the car.
Yeah.
In a car ride, the little boy looks at the mom, and we flash back to see the bad one switching places, and she smiles at the boy, and the boy knows, but does nothing. So, like, is that America? Like, we know that, like, part of our taxes are going to bombing children, doing all this stuff.
We have all these different things that are going on in our society, and it's like, we see people who are mistreated.
Yeah.
Essentially, the tethered are human. You know, they have human DNA.
Yeah, and we just put our mask down.
We act like it doesn't matter. I think that's the statement he's trying to make, is that we can even ignore people in our own society because we think they're less than us. We even give them a name. We call them the tethered.
Yeah.
So
there is, I am being very nitpicky, but the cool twist that I do like is the moment that you were in the house, the white family is like, the wife is like, I think I hear something outside, and we do this whole scene, and then their doppelganger show up and kill him.
Yeah.
That moment to me was really cool.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I did not expect there to be more of them.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be just the main family.
Mm-hmm. And when they called, so they called the cops, which I was like, finally, somebody is smart in one of these horror movies.
And when
the cops don't show up, I'm like, well, that's weird. I was like, yeah, that was weird. And then when they show the doppelganger family show up, you're like, oh, it's because these people, all of them are under attack.
Yeah.
Which they do foreshadow, which on my second viewing I noticed it more. The guy who holds the Jeremiah 11:11 sign up was killed first, and his tethered.
Yeah.
I just threw the pen. Went and was already on the beach, which we saw early in the movie.
Yeah.
And that's why the mom freaked out even more. Well, one, she knew about the basement.
Yeah.
But freaked out more because that tether had already existed.
Yeah.
The other cool... was there another cool one? I'm trying to think of everything that happened that I really wanted to talk about.
I love when they first meet the family and she sits down and she tells them the story of the basement.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, okay, like, they have already set up the end. And
Well, they set up the end way in the beginning. At the beginning of the movie, the mom's like, "I just want my little girl back." They say it right there.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, "Whoa, wait a second." It was when the mom of the doppelganger family talked that I put it together. Because none of the other tethered talk.
Here's my thing. Well, I thought
they do, but they don't speak our language. They have their own language.
Right. My big thing that I thought when they did that was at the beginning of the movie, I kind of thought that because they don't show what happens.
Yeah.
So I was like, they switched. And I was like, that's too obvious. I was like, Get Out had enough of a unique twist. I was like, it won't be that. Which I think it's a fine twist. I do. I think how I would have changed it though is you could have had them switch, but at the end of the movie, you should have had the mom talk normally. You should have just had the girl like hit her across the head or something.
Yeah.
Have the mom still be able to talk normal. Have them fight in the basement, but wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, I think that would have been really cool.
Then the shot at the later shows her smile wouldn't have mattered because they both smile like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't know which one is real. So you could have been like,
well, who won? What side won? I want to read you the verse, Jeremiah 11:11.
It's so good.
Therefore, thus says Jehovah, behold, I will bring up evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape, and they shall cry unto me, but I will not hearken unto them. That verse is the definition of this movie, and it is shown at the very beginning of the movie. During the end of the year, we were all looking it up, and I'm like...
I was looking it up.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I know where this is going now.
Yeah.
Like...
It ends, though, with, basically doppelgangers winning to an extent. Not their doppelgangers, but everyone else's.
Yeah.
Because they perform Hands Across America, and they,
Yeah.
They do it. I also read... all the stuff in the beginning of the movie, there's a bunch of VHS tapes you see.
They're all the inspiration for the movie.
They are, and they're basically, tell you the entire movie if you look at all of them.
Yeah. He has a lot of neat little callbacks and symbolism throughout the movie.
She talks about one time where it's really hard for her to talk. She just is
I thought that was really good.
And on the second viewing, I was like, yeah, you're setting this up. Because the first time I felt like it was very unnecessary. And I still feel like it's very unnecessary, but it's at least set up better. It just doesn't matter.
Right, you get all the foreshadowing, and then if you watch it a second time, you know everything for sure. But I went and just hit up Reddit. I was like, Reddit, what did I look at just now? Yeah, that's the night of I stayed up till I stayed up for 2.5 hours looking up things, and I do think the movie has the best part of the movie is it's a conversation piece. Yeah.
At the end of the day, whether you love it or not,
movies that can make you think about them as long as that we have, especially you because you saw it Thursday. I saw it Saturday.
I saw it Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't going to go Thursday, but just there's circumstances and.
Yeah, but it's okay, it's an interesting movie. I think it's acted very well. I love her telling the story so much, and she starts crying.
Well, then they both start crying.
They both start crying, and it's okay, is that just because that one's mirroring the other? Or is it because you know what you did?
Right, but
I think that she repressed her memory, and she thinks that she's the real one.
Maybe.
Because, that is traumatic. Finding another version of yourself that looks exactly the same.
Then choking them out, leaving in the basement. You think she's the traumatic one?
Yes. I think on some level, because that's a child.
Yeah,
I find it very interesting that it was a child that escaped instead of an adult.
Yeah, well, I think it's just because
what's a child going to do to an adult? She can't kill the other people around her nearly as effectively as an adult would have. Because, like you said, when the other doppelgangers just show up and they just straight up wreck their neighbors, it's oh snap. But the kids in the movie that have their doppelgangers, they can't really do anything.
Yeah, I do. There are two last things I want to point out. I really like the scene when the white wife is dying. Yeah. And she reaches up for help, and he does the whole hand slide thing.
Yeah, that was
because it shows that he's also a douche. It's dumb, but
right. But it shows that they really do mirror who they're tethered to or connected to, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
I love. Somebody said on Reddit, it's that I find it really poetic that the fake one tethered the little girl to the bed at the end, and then the first thing she does when she sees
is tether her to the table.
Is tether her to the table. I was like, that's actually really.
I do have a problem with the handcuffs. I want to talk about this real quick because I have both viewings. It does not make sense how she was able to unhook the handcuff and hook it back for the same pair of handcuffs she was wearing.
What do you mean?
So she hooks the handcuff to the coffee table, and then I left to go to the bathroom on the second viewing. So you're going to have to fill me in again. When the mom the White family's mom doppelganger has her up in the bedroom. She's handcuffed.
Yeah.
Okay, how?
Oh, you mean like how she's trying to lean over the bed or whatever?
No, how did they rehook the handcuff? Because it was locked. She didn't unlock the handcuff.
No, she never did.
So how?
I don't know.
Yeah, that has bothered me. It's really dumb. It's very the only reason
I know what
bring
you're
it up,
talking about though, because like it's like when the daughter goes in there to try to fight the doppelganger mom. Yeah, no, she's like freaking out like she can't get out. But
she's cuffed, but
she
wasn't
she's still cuffed from before. So it's like, did she get caught in something?
Well, so here's the thing. So left hand.
Yeah.
I'll watch this. Left hand was never handcuffed. The right one was, and the right hand was handcuffed to the table.
Yeah.
My problem is when she broke the table, she didn't unhook the handcuff. It's still there because it was lodged around the table. It just slid out.
Yeah.
So it was still locked the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a key. How did they unlock the handcuff, put the handcuff on her? Because they make the only reason I bring it up is because in the movie it's used for a fight and it's used for a murder. It's used for important reasons for the rest of the movie because she's untethered at the very end of the movie. She gets the key. She's freed. She kills the good one. She's finally done. There's never have to worry about it.
Yeah.
My problem is that it doesn't. I need to watch it again. I guess I need to go just watch that scene. How does she get the locked handcuff unlocked, put it on, and relock her into it?
I don't know.
It's such a minor thing that has great implications because of later stuff that has bothered me.
Right, no, and I agree. It's just, I think that there has to be some suspension of disbelief. Like,
I get that, but just like, the rest of it is so grounded.
Right, like...
Except for that, how they're created. The government created them, and I'm still not very sure about that.
Yeah, no, did they really create them?
They did, but I mean, like, with what? Like, what was their fusion? Like, was it bunnies? Because there's a lot of bunnies. What's the point of bunnies?
Well, the bunnies are the food.
Right, but, like, is that it?
I don't know. Like, that's the thing. Rabbits multiply.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, like,
maybe the soul of the rabbit is used to create a human.
That was my theory. My theory is the rabbit body is the foundation for the human.
That's what I was thinking.
But anyway, we should wrap this up because Ryan's standing outside the door, right? He said he wanted to do a few extra things. Overall, I do enjoy the film. I know we talked about this a lot. I know I have a lot of negatives. My problem is really it introduces a lot of things that, like, I like Jordan Peele doing these weird things.
Yeah.
But to me, it doesn't feel like Get Out surpassed the horror genre.
Yeah.
Us is the best of the horror genre. And so, like...
Yeah, no. Like, and it's not even a bad film. Like, I think
I love it.
It's a good film.
I will buy it on DVD. Like, I will...
The performances are really solid.
Yeah.
I think the little girl at the beginning of the movie, that's her first movie, I think is what they said. I thought that she did really, really well. I think all the kids in this movie actually do really well, especially the boy. I think the boy who plays Jason does a great job both as his normal self and his tethered self, especially. I love... Actually, wait, before we finish, why does the tethered version of Jason still try to follow the movements? I
have wondered that a lot. I don't have an answer. I'm going to assume he's a dumb kid and just...
Maybe? Like, I'm just so confused by that because he keeps trying to get Jason to... I've been doing it the entire time, actually, throughout the podcast. I've just been flicking this lighter because I keep trying to think about it because, like, she even tells him, show him one of your magic tricks so you can escape, and it's fire, which obviously comes back later because...
He burns the kid alive, yeah.
Right. But I was just like, why is the doppelganger trying to get him to do this stuff? And also, this is my one nitpick. Considering that everybody else is immediately killed, why didn't they not kill them?
She was torturing them.
I guess.
That's
true.
That was something I was hung up on my first viewing, but thinking about it, think about how tortured she is.
To the end,
yeah, that's why I do think when they're all like, well, it's revenge. I think, at a certain point, it does become a revenge tale. I threw the pen again. It does become a revenge tale because she, like, leaves them alive to torture them. Because she's like, this is my story. Which I do like that her voice is, like, thrown off because of, like, being choked out.
Yeah.
But we could talk about nitpicky all day. I do think you should watch it.
I think you should.
I mean, if you're listening to this part, you hopefully watched it. But thank you for tuning in.